So I'm doing this little video on how to train. There are all sorts of important component parts, and I don't think you can ignore any of them. And what I do with my guys is make sure that we cover all of them off. And what I'm starting to learn is very common, a lot of the issues and how they can be addressed. And so I'm putting courses together on them as we speak at the moment. So the whole how to train podcast, so if it wobbles a bit here and there, well, that's just my stuff, so live with it. Anyway, so don't know if you can read that. Do you know how to train? Okay, all sorts of component parts, first of all, okay. So to me, for those of you who know me, know that I think nutrition is key in your training. Okay, there's your mindset, there is the training itself, and I think as part of, I incorporate it in part of, is things like your equipment and kit. If you can't read this, by the way, I will tidy it up at the end and take a photo of it and post it up for any of those of you in my running groups. So with all of these, I think the big things to be aware of always are your why, your how, your what, and your when. For all of them. Okay, nutrition. Why does it matter? There's part, yes, how you feel. There's part where you want to be getting your nutrition right so that you optimise your performance in your running. And if you get it right, the phrase bonking, right? You've heard of that, where you run out of energy during rest. It's not inevitable. It's not, and it's so easy to correct if you know the how, and you know the when and the what to have. Okay, all parts are very important. So there's in part in your nutrition, you can't really see the orange, can you? Where you've got your macro and your micronutrients. There's what you have in training. You see this? And what you have on race day, during the race, and before, and training before, during, and after, have huge impact on your recovery. Okay, getting your nutrition right in training is really important because that feeds and makes you learn what you should have on race, and it also ensures that you recover better from your training. A lot of it comes down to your macro and micronutrition, nutrients. Okay, your macros are your protein, your carbs, and your fats. Okay, and particularly for you guys doing running, you'll be going primarily utilising your fat zones and your carb zones. Now, there are ways and means to train to start utilising fats more quickly than carbs. The essence of this is that your carbohydrate stores are limited. So if you can start training your body to utilise the fat more, you can go longer and harder more easily, okay, for a longer amount of time without having to refuel. You will be dipping into your carbohydrate stores, and so again, learning what to eat, when to eat is very important on there. There's also that wonderful one called water. I read somewhere once that you can live without food for something like, oh, it's something crazy. Please don't quote me on this, I can't remember, but it's weeks or something. Whereas water, you can survive for a matter of days. And when you're running, you sweat, okay? Even when it's cold, your body will be sweating. So learning how to hydrate, how much you need to hydrate, has a huge impact on performance. Okay, mindset. This is a biggie. If you don't want to go out and train, life's going to be really difficult. So I think actually within here, I would include lifestyle. So doing training that fits in your lifestyle, it's all very well, all the science that sits behind all of these, working within your lifestyle, then you're not going to do the training. Okay, you can force yourself to do it for a bit, but if it's not sustainable, if your partner's going to leave you as a result, then no. We need to look and change and adapt how you do it. I think I've put in here your motivation. As with anything, you can train your brain. Take this as an example of how complicated tying a shoelace is. It's difficult, yeah? Just try and have a think about it. And yet we expect our minds to be able to just go and do a hard session, to go for a long run, to keep going. So I think there's the motivation to do the workouts you don't want to do. And as well as whilst you're out. And if you don't look at these, I mean, oh yes, you can still run, but it ain't going to be as much fun, and that's what it's all about, isn't it? And you can train your brain. It's one of the most important aspects that I think some people don't appreciate with sports. They think it's all about the physicality. A huge amount is about the mind. You will limit your physical capabilities on where your mind tells you your limits are. So if I won't go into that because I've got quite a lot to cover. Training itself, okay? So this, the sort of physical training, I should put there, shouldn't I, really? Now, your whys on here, stop injury. I should put why there, shouldn't I? Stop injury. And to get quicker. Be race ready. I think those are probably the main ones that spring to mind right now. If I think of more, I'll add them on, and yes, take a photo at the end of it. So, how do you train? 1, there's technique. Okay, if you are doing nothing about your running technique, how do you expect it to get any better? Simple. Okay, both in terms of your form and intensity. Okay, then also within your physical training, you need to look at periodization. And I'll put timing in there because it's timing and level. You are where you are, okay? So a training plan for someone who's been getting a 3:30 marathon in the past versus someone who's doing their first half marathon and has been running 5Ks a couple of times a week, it's going to be very, very different. Your bodies are physically at very, very different stages, and you need to be aware of that and not try something that doesn't suit your body. Okay? You'll end up injured. You'll end up exhausted if you end up for one that's too extreme for you, and you won't progress. There's also parts where the sort of training pattern needs to go a bit like this. You need your recovery phases. You build so that you can get up to your next peak, and then you recover again, get to your next peak. And so as far as in a longer term plan, your training pattern is really important. And as well as in a shorter plan, to make sure that you're not overloading with the same type of thing. Physical training, key thing, stretching. 2 elements of that. 1, it helps all the nutrients flow back to the areas it needs for your body to recover and rebuild stronger. And Another one that someone said to me was like, she said, "Oh, Chrissie, you always complain that you've got short ass legs. Why wouldn't you stretch them out to make your muscles longer? You're already at a disadvantage." Like, okay, fair point. I can't argue with that. But also the big one is injury prevention, and it enables your muscles to work more efficiently. Okay. On the other side, there is strength. Huge thing with these is injury prevention. Okay, can't sit too well here, but all your muscles work in pairs. Okay, so when I go like that, I'm contracting my bicep muscle and I'm extending my tricep muscle. Okay, there, I'm relaxing my bicep, contracting my tricep. Same's true for your legs, with your quads at the front of your legs versus your hamstring at the back of your leg. There is a huge problem for so many people where the hip flexors are really tight. So that's the one that helps your knee come up, yeah, which you use an awful lot when you're running. But because we spend so much time sitting, curled up in bed like that, that gets so tight, causes a lot of lower back pain, but also it limits your running. Okay, so you need to do work on there to and enable your legs to work properly, how they're designed to. Okay, of course you don't have to do this type of thing, but if you train exactly the same way, apart from the stretching, to the guy next to you or girl, they're gonna run quicker, I promise. The other thing within there, you can't ignore your core muscles. Okay, so it sort of ties in with your strength side. If you've got a strong set of core muscles, you're going to hold your hips in place. And with your hips held in place, you're more likely to have your thigh bones going down straight, rather than if you're already weak here and your hips are going all over the shop, your thigh bones will start going over the shop. They'll start impacting your knee, really commonly causes knee injuries, okay, is not having a strong enough core to do it. Ways and means to train them. And I think going back to lifestyle mindset, you don't need to go and spend hours in the gym. So what I do, have I got any sound? Yes, I've got them here. Often when I'm out running, I like running. I don't like doing the slacky exercises around in between. I'll often put one of these bands in my pocket, go for my run, and at the midway point, I do my band exercises. Sorted. Done. Okay? Or do them in ad breaks or first thing when I get up in the morning. And 5 minutes a day, done. Okay? There are ways and means to do all of these that don't mean that you have to do something that's a schlep. Okay? You like to run, go out and run. So yeah, those, equipment and kit. Okay, I think some of my guys do triathlons and it's slightly more prevalent with them. But there's rubbish kit that makes running hard, okay? Not good. There's part where the equipment lies down to all of this. If you're, like your trainers that you use, I do recommend going to a proper sports shop who will look at your gait, do a gait analysis on you. If you like the guys and you feel like you trust them, go with them. If you feel that they're swinging your arm, walk away. Okay, most shops will let you bring the trains back if you have problems with them. Most reputable ones will. Please go to the small shops rather than big brands. Support the smaller businesses out there. In Richmond, sporting shoes are my favourite. So, yes, the kit list for this is what makes your life easier and how to sort of layer it all on one by one. I've raced in all kinds of horrible weather. I was talking to one of my mates last night and we were talking about doing a very ridiculous race where you do a 10 miler and run through water, and we did it in November and the top of the water was frozen and we ran up to there. My kit for that would not be what I'd normally wear in those temperatures. Woolly hat, essential, best thing in the world. And I actually ran in shorts and a vest because I was going to be running in freezing wet clothes. And it worked, it made me run quick. There's also, actually coming back to the training, there's your warm up and cool down. So important. and so overlooked. If you want to get the most out of your body and you don't want to get injured and you want to get quicker and you want to be ready for a race, you've got to do what's right for you. These things are all just things that will help your running, okay? They will take you from there to there. But without that one, none of this matters. I'm very interested in science. The reason things go onto the market and things are agreed is because they've been trialled and tested. And in those trials and tests that show that there is significant enough to say that that way works more so than that way. Okay, so I pay quite a lot of attention to that, but I also do a reality check on it. Okay, I don't know if some of you saw, I did a post about your circadian rhythms. According to that, you're optimal in the afternoon because of where your body temperatures are, where obviously your hormones are levelling out at. However, there aren't very many races at that time of day, so there's no point in practicing doing exercise then. Your body also adjusts a little bit to the time of day that you train. Very few people I know can actually get out. And for a lot of people, they don't feel great at 4 p.m, they're feeling a little bit lethargic. And if you're not going to put your trainers on because you feel a bit lethargic at that time of day, then there's no point in trying. So I always think the science is interesting and I always take a look at it, but I would do a reality check with my guys on what works for them. Anyway, at the moment I'm looking at putting together a challenge or two. If you've got suggestions, drop me a line. But yeah, I will take a photo of this. I hope it's of use to you and happy running. Bye.